So we are here in Scotland in a very hot room, which is kind of different to the on and off rain hot thing that's going on outside. And you played fairly recently, so why don't you tell me about how that went down?
Yeah, I guess played about an hour ago. We just sort of recently come off and really enjoyed it. Had a great gig. We didn't know what to expect, and it was very sunny, so everyone was just sort of lying out in the grass. But we kind of started playing, and the tent rather, filled up really, really quickly. So kind of was packed by the end, which was great. So we had a lot of fun.
It's always good to hear.
Yeah.
And so what have you been up to for the past few weeks before this?
Yesterday we played a festival in Wales, so we had a long drive up last night. And then before that, we supported the Killers in Hyde Park a couple of weeks ago. We did Glastonbury last week. And then before that, we've just been doing like a headline tour. I've just been doing a headline tour of my band up and down the country. So been keeping fairly busy.
And the album's coming out fairly soon, right?
Yeah, 27th of July.
A couple of weeks' time?
Yeah.
Can you tell me some stuff about the songs that are on it?
Well, the album, I wrote all the songs myself, and they're kind of, I don't know, some of them are like 2 or 3 years old, others are more recent. Like I kind of wrote the last one maybe a couple of months ago, and then I went out and recorded it in America. The album, I worked in America. I recorded it in America with a guy called Dave Fridman. He's like an amazing producer.
How did that one come about?
I was just like in London, and I was just recording these demos and sort of trying to think of who I wanted to do the album with. And I really loved what I heard from the MGMT first album, and then all the Flaming Lips and the Mercury Rev stuff too. And so I thought it would be a great kind of project, like working with Dave in it. So I sent him a track, and he liked it, and he rang me up, and we had a little chat. And then he invited me over there to his studio, and we got on really well, recorded, went really well, and so he's just like, let's do the album. So it was I was very lucky. It was a good break.
And it's called Swago Thoughts. I can't figure out what that means.
Yeah, no one knows. It's I made it up. It was a sort of, I woke up, I had this dream, and I woke up and I had this name kind of in my head, and I didn't really realise, I didn't know what it was, but it was just this sort of name of a place that I tried to get to in this dream, and I kind of wrote a little song on the piano, which is on the album, called Swago Thoughts, and I thought that would just be like a nice name for the album as a whole. I guess the album's quite like romantic and slightly kind of escapist in sort of terms of its lyrical content, and I thought Swago Thoughts just sounded like the right title for it.
Is Swago a word that means anything usually, or is it just a completely...
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Someone said like, it sounds like it could be Spanish, but...
I thought it might be like a fault line, like
a fault line, yeah. But
no.
The two words just together, and then it's but it works. It's kind of mysterious. I think that's the name, but completely made up.
Cool. And something in your voice that I've noticed, I don't know if this is intentional or anything, but there's kind of this weird effect that seems natural, but it sounds a little bit like auto-tune that you do. I don't know if anyone's ever said anything like that to you before.
Really?
Something like, just, I don't know, the way you kind of project seems like, I don't know how to explain it.
God, auto-tune, well, hopefully that means that I sing in tune.
I mean that in a really good way.
I know that's great, I would have probably understood more if you'd been like, it sounds out of tune. I'm like, yeah, well, I do that on purpose, I employ that. I don't know, auto-tune. Well, actually, everything I recorded on the album was, I performed all the parts, the drums and the bass and all that kind of stuff, and sang all the BBs and stuff, and I was very kind of particular about not having anything kind of tampered with, like a kind of auto-tune or anything like that. So all the vocal performances are completely kind of as they were, kind of as I sang them in all their glorious roughness. So, but I've never had anyone say that to me before, so that's quite cool.
Maybe. I think it is a good thing. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, well, thanks.
How did you find your band that play with you on the road then?
Yeah, it took me a while. I mean, I was kind of by myself as a solo artist, and sort of looking for the right guys to play with, people who could bring a really good energy to the stage as well, and kind of get involved with the songs. And just through friends or through kind of people that I work with, it's kind of, I guess, a small world, the music scene in London. So one by one, I kind of got these guys coming sort of together, and like Lasse, the drummer, sort of used to play in the Rakes, and then they split up, and so he was a friend of a friend, and so I asked him if he wanted to play, and that kind of worked out. And Gav and James and Jamie, it's all the kind of a similar story. So it was a very natural kind of process of finding people who really, really wanted to do it, rather than boring session musicians.
That doesn't sound much fun at all, really.
No.
Did you ever have a go with trying to use people like that then?
Yeah, there were kind of, while I was sort of finding my sound and like kind of playing gigs and finding my feet, I was playing with some people who were session and that kind of thing, and I found it so boring, you know, and just going to a gig and traveling in the bus. You know, you want guys who, you know, banter and, you know, people with a sense of humour, but they were all very like serious and kind of went there and was played and then like left, and there was no vibe or atmosphere. And I find that so important. I can't see how you can play music well if you're not, you know, all gelling together.
And do you think that your band members will ever co-write with you, or do you always want to kind of go with your own songs?
I'm not sure. And
I guess
to
it's
be honest,
way into the future because the first album is only just about to come out. So.
Yeah, it's a long way off. But I'm really kind of, for me, writing's actually a very personal thing which I do by myself, and I find other people. I've tried it once or twice writing with other people, and I find it quite distracting. And I like laying down my own thoughts, my own kind of chord progressions and stuff. But actually, James the bass player and Jamie the keyboard player, I think they've got their own little projects that they're thinking about doing and stuff. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I couldn't say.
And first musical memories, is there anything that stands out when you were growing up that really kind of made you think, wow, music, this stuff is amazing?
I remember just like my mum sitting me on her lap and like playing piano with me and sort of teaching me stuff, and I enjoyed that so much, like just like jamming with her, and that was a really young age, like 3 or something, like 4, you know. And then growing up, there have been so many different musical influences. My mum's a violinist, so a lot of classical music, you know, around the house, and a lot of world music my parents were really into, a lot of the classics, like stuff in the 70s, Bowie and Roxy music, and I think I took that all on board, and those are the guys that I really like, so, but yeah.
Are you into music theory as well then? It sounds like maybe...
No, not at all.
No.
I had lessons in trumpet, funnily enough, randomly. That's the only thing I ever had lessons in, trumpet. And I hated it because I find reading music really difficult, and all the theory I can't really. It's almost like I have this musical like dyslexia or something, you know, where I can hear something and I can play it. I find that's fine. There's no problem with that. But when it comes to theorizing it or kind of seeing it in writing and all that, I just have no idea what I'm doing. So I gave up the trumpet, and so yeah, like all the other stuff, it just came naturally. I just sort of jammed my way to where I am.
And later today, we're going to be having a head-to-head of Beyonce against the Strokes, and that's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think about pop kind of working alongside guitar bands at festivals? It seems like this year's a real changeover.
Yeah, working alongside or competing with.
Yeah, almost. In fact.
But it's funny because I asked at my gig. I said, "Oh, like who's here? You know, who's going to see Beyonce later?" And yeah, we were saying like 20 kind of girls were like, "Yeah," and then everyone else was boo. And I was like, "Who's here to see the Strokes?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I think the Strokes win. But it's interesting, I guess. And festivals have to keep sort of changing. And it's, you know, Glastonbury, Beyonce headlined, and, you know, Jay-Z last year. And, you know, I guess it's interesting, you know, having more musical variety, so it's not always just the bands. But, yeah.
And who are you going to be seeing later?
You know what, I don't mind. I'm just going to have a few drinks and let the wind take me where it will, and follow whoever I'm with and see what they want to do. But I'd quite like to see the Strokes.